Looks like we have some spoilers to discuss for the Warhammer 40k crossover. Let's just take a look at some of the commander options from this set, and I realize it's not everybody's favorite thing, these crossovers. It does feel in a way that they're selling out, but let me be honest in telling you that I would rather we cross over with Warhammer than really anything like Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, because with those it's more about the celebrity, the characters. This actually feels like we're crossing over with a whole different world with its own themes, like it's not just about those characters. We've already seen Abaddon the Despoiler. I mean, this goes back to May. For yesterday, the 12th of September, we got the Swarmlord, 6-mana Temur colored legendary Tyrannid. I'm not really familiar with Warhammer stuff, so if I mispronounce something, I mispronounce it. It was never really my game. If I played anything related, it was Battletech, and that was mostly for the Mech Warrior games. So I'm well aware of what Warhammer is, I don't really have any idea who any of these characters are. You have an ability here that says Rapid Regeneration. The Swarmlord enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game, which does make it worth it. If you have to spend 6 mana, then 8 mana, you're going to want more power and toughness. Big downside though is that you don't get it on something with Trample, or really any combat ability keywords. With Xenos Cunning, whenever a creature you control with a counter on it dies, you draw a card. That is an off-color ability. We've seen this in black before. It's such a weird commander because the way you want to build around this is by using white and black, so that you can easily bring back creatures, have them die with counters on them. So not having access to black and white does limit what you're able to do. It's not always a bad thing. I think we have some persist creatures that would be great with this. You have some undying creatures even, because keep in mind it just says counter on it. Doesn't have to be a +1/+1 counter. It could be those ability counters from Ikoria. There is potential here to make this work, but there is the downside of it being 6 mana, and usually, when you want card draw on a commander, you don't want it to come at the cost of your board presence. We have Inquisitor Greyfax, a 4-mana Esper-colored human Inquisitor. Vigilance, Unquestionable Wisdom. Other creatures you control get +1 power and have Vigilance. Hunt for Heresy, pay 1 mana tap to tap target creature an opponent controls, and investigate. This is one where I feel like we could get a lot more. We are in the colors to draw way more cards off of this than what we would with Investigate. So needing haste for that activated ability is a huge downside, and we would be investing 3 mana into that ability to get 1 card to draw. I just feel like we have way better options. We have Zarek the Silent King, 4 mana, 3 of that black for this legendary artifact creature in Necron. Flying and My Will Be Done. Whenever Zarek the Silent King attacks, mill 3 cards. You may put an artifact creature card or vehicle card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. Now I promise you these commander options get better, but so far what we've seen with these first 3, you kind of need the planets to align. I think if the payoff is you can get an artifact creature card or vehicle card but it has to go to your hand, it should be more open-ended that you can bring back any of those cards from your graveyard after milling 3, because it's only to your hand. If we're limited by milling 3, this should totally be straight into play, and I don't care, oh, you might be able to cheat in a Blightsteel Colossus that way. We've had Kalia the Vast forever. Because you have such a high whiff potential with this, you don't know what you're going to get off the top most of the time, it makes it a significantly worse commander option. We get Margarets Kalgar, a 5-mana Esper-colored one again, legendary Astartes Warrior, double strike, Master Tactician. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. That's more controllable so far out of the card draw that we've seen built-in commanders. This one is probably the best. Chapter Master, pay 6 mana to create 2/2/2 white Astartes Warrior creature tokens with Vigilance. That's also a pretty decent ability. It is a lot of mana, but it's one of those abilities that you use when you have nothing else to do. It also feeds into that first ability, and that's really what you look for in good commanders. You look for an engine. It's also pushing it at 5 mana, but you also get double strike on a 3/5. So there's a lot to like about this. We get Magus, Lucia Kane. Again, I have no idea who these characters are. I'm going to mispronounce them. 4 mana Temur colored, so fairly costed. Spiritual Leader, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Psychic Stimulus, you tap her to add 2 colorless. When you next cast a spell with X in its mana cost or activate an ability with X in its activation cost this turn, copy that spell or ability and choose new targets. So that's pretty ridiculous. That first ability might seem kind of weird, but do realize that she is a 1/1, and I think that was Wizard's way of balancing her out. She's not immediately going to be a wall of protection. She's very easy, susceptible to even the most basic removal. So having her being able to put a +1/+1 counter on herself just to gain some power and toughness, I think, does balance her out. But that ability is super strong. I mean, even though we're not in black where you would have some of the most powerful X-costed spells, you have plenty to choose from in these 3 colors, green, blue, and red. maybe the best commander option we've seen so far. We have Bellacor the Dark Master, 6 mana Grixis Color Demon Noble, a flying 6/5 Prince of Chaos. When Bellacor the Dark Master enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of demons you control. This is very similar to that vampire from Rivals of Ixalan that enters the battlefield, draws you cards equal to the number of vampires you control. So having this on a creature ETB that could be your commander is pretty good. It's going to help you get through your deck a lot quicker. Lord of Torment, whenever another demon enters the battlefield under your control, deals damage equal to its power to any target. We get a Terror of the Peaks for demons too. That's pretty cool. If you have to pay 6 mana and then even more for the commander tax when you play him again, you're going to want something powerful with that. So you get good card draw, you get a good damage ability. Tribal decks are always narrow, but I think this one is going to appeal to a lot of players. We get Imhotep the Stormlord, a 4 mana black, legendary artifact creature, a Necron. Another one, a 3/3 with Pharaon. Whenever one or more artifact cards leave your graveyard, create 2/2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature tokens, and Grand Strategist. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target artifact creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains menace until end of turn. Already, this is the best card so far. It's like you took Tormod and made it even better. I realize that it is limited to artifact cards leaving your graveyard, but holy cow is that easy to synergize with. You can make a great commander deck around it. We have things like Mirror Retriever, Junk Diver, Scrap Trawler. Those have been around forever. We have a lot of other cards that bring back artifacts. And of course, you could throw it into other artifact-focused decks like Breya, or get this, Sharum the Hegemon. And you of course have the artifact combos. This is going to combo pretty easily. You're getting 2 every single time an artifact leaves your graveyard. So if you sacrifice 2 creatures to Ashnod's Altar, you're getting 4 mana every time. This is so powerful. The most flexible card that we've seen from this Warhammer 40k set. Then we have Death Leaper Terror Weapon, 4 mana red and green, legendary Tyrannid. Flash Haste and Flesh Hooks. Creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn have double strike. It's a simple one, but I think this is a good ability. You may not immediately think of doing this, but it could be used defensively. Since it does have flash, it could enter the battlefield on an opponent's turn if they're attacking you. Giving it double strike could help you block in a lot of situations. Also good in any type of deck where you can give double strike to other creatures to play a lot of death touch creatures. We do have some in green. I think this would work out really well because it also makes it a nightmare for your opponents to have to block. This is going to be also in addition to other things you would want to include, like Temur Sabertooth, anything that can bounce creatures back to your hand, so you can easily replay them, get their value off of an ETB. And the last legendary for the day is Old One-Eye, a 6 mana mono green legendary Tyrannid. Trample and other creatures you control have trample. When Old One-Eye enters the battlefield, create a 5/5 green Tyrannid creature token. Fast healing at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. You may discard 2 cards. If you do, return Old One-Eye from your graveyard to your hand. I'm going to be honest, I don't really like this as a commander option. You're not really giving yourself the fuel in order to use the fast healing. If you have to discard 2 cards and it only comes back to your hand, that's pretty disappointing. You do get good value in creature tokens. You do give your other creatures trample. Just wish it did a little bit more, especially if this would be a commander option. So that's going to do it for the video. Let me know what you think about the Warhammer 40k crossover. I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I did see a lot of things that I liked. Some that were very mid, very average. But lately we've been getting a lot of good card draw engines on commanders. We do see a continuation of that with this set. Commander Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.